Alrighty, boys and girls, it's time for content! And today, well, I've been real deep in the content mines. This isn't like my usual Draft League content. This one is pure, actual Pokemon games. Which, you know, totally aren't being emulated. A promise? Please don't call the cops, okay? I'm way too beautiful for jail. Please, please, please. Anyway, I like hardcore Nuzlocke, and I like monotype runs of Pokemon games, so I'm like, well, what's better than marrying the two together, you know? And while Bob Catter may not want to talk about marrying them until we deal with those pesky crocodile attacks.
Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom, as far as I'm concerned. You know, but I ain't spending any time on it, because in the meantime, every 3 months, a person is torn to pieces by a crocodile in North Queensland.
I've decided to try and do just that. Yes, I wrote that joke entirely so I could add that Bob Catter footage. No, I'm not apologising. Deal with it. What's the goal of this stupid exercise? Well, it's to try to beat every single region from Gens 1 to 6 with every single Pokemon type while following hardcore Nuzlocke rules. I'm sure a lot of you probably know them, but for those that don't know, those rules are pretty simple. When a Pokemon faints, it's dead and has to be boxed and never used again or released. Only the first valid Pokemon from each route can be caught. Every Pokemon you catch must have a nickname. There is a species clause, which means you can't catch two Pokemon from the same evolution line. That's, you know, let's say I've lost my Spearow and I encounter a Fearow, I can't catch it. Or, you know, I've already got a Spearow and I run into another Spearow, I get to reset. And, yeah. So that's, you know, okay. There's no items in battle, there's only held items that the Pokemon are holding. Battles have to be on set, so you can't swap. And you can't level your Pokemon above the next gym's highest level Pokemon until you're in the battle with them or you've beaten them, that sort of thing. And for the Elite Four, your Pokemon can't be above the champion's highest until you start the Elite Four challenge. But there's also some very specific ones to this challenge because, again, we're doing monotype ones, so it's tough. And, you know, there's just some types that aren't really feasible because, you know, well, for example, we'll say Dragon in Gen 3. You don't get a Dragon type of valid, you know, Dragon type Pokemon until about Swablu, which is a bit ridiculous. So there are some specific sort of rules to help that challenge. If there's no Pokemon of that type early in the game, or there's just a very small selection of the type for the whole game, I'll edit my starter to be something that I can't actually get in the game. It's not going to be overpowered. I'm not going to frickin', you know, it's like, oh, I'm doing a Ghost Run in Gen 2. Time to give myself a Giratina. But yeah, it'll just be something that kind of makes sense as a starting Pokemon. Also, if a Pokemon evolves into a type I'm running, I can use it, but I have to evolve it as soon as I can. So, for example, if I'm doing a flying run in Gen 1, I can pick Charmander, but I have to evolve at level 36 as soon as it possibly can. And if a Pokemon loses the type when it evolves, I can't evolve it. So, pretty standard stuff. I'm going to let myself do trade evolutions as well. And as for rival starters, I'm going to usually try to pick the middle hard one, if I am genning especially. Like, I know the sort of standard thing is to pick the hardest one, but I think if I pick the hardest one, a lot less of these fights would actually be possible. And, you know, we are trying to win, but I'm not going to make it too easy, so it'll usually be the middle one. And I'm also using whatever version of the region I think is best for the challenge. Basically, that's probably going to mean like Fire Red, Leaf Green for Gen 1, Heart Gold, Soul Silver for Gen 2, Standard, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald Gen 3. But basically, I'm just going to try to stick to Game Boy and DS era. Obviously, Gen 6 will use the 3DS, but you know. And so, is this going to be possible with every single type? Yeah, nah. It's just not. There's a lot of types that are just gonna reach a point and then collapse. We'll have to see, but you know, For our first video, it's actually the ground type in Pokemon LeafGreen. At this point, you can probably see I'm picking the Squirtle, and that's because there's plenty of Gen 1 ground types, and this will just beat Brock easily and we can get to them. I picked Squirtle because, well, you know, I'm sure Blastoise is actually the hardest to fight. Venusaur's still going to be pretty hard, and I don't think Blastoise would make the game winnable. Plus, I didn't want to have to beat Brock with Charmander, I just wanted to get through this thing as quickly as possible. But let's talk about ground types in Kanto. There are 8 different fully evolved ground types, which is actually pretty good for Kanto with its 150 Pokemon that you can get. But the problem with that is a little deceiving, because while there are 8, there's realistically actually 7 that are gettable, because you're going to have to choose between 2. In the Safari Zone, you either can encounter Rhydon or the Nido that you don't get in the first route, which means you're picking between 2 honestly incredible Pokemon, which is a bit of a shame. Additionally, there are 2 Pokemon here that are absolutely useless, so they kind of remind me of myself in a lot of ways. We've got Sandslash, which has a terrible move pool and really lackluster stats that are basically outclassed by every other ground Pokemon you can get, except for Onix, which manages to outdo it by having worse stats and only a slightly better move pool, but not even that much better. But at least it has a stab attack, I suppose. It's just awful. They're both awful. So really, at the end of the day, we've got about 5 Pokemon that you'd say are usable. So you really got to be careful with them. But onto the actual run itself. After beating Brock, we managed to get our Nidoran, which I named Sum 41. Honestly, I would have preferred the male Nidoran that evolves into a Nidoking, but just because it's got higher attack, which is what we'll probably need in the early game, but this is fine too. Especially with its ability, Adamant, which is plus attack minus special attack. That's quite strong. And now our run begins. Nidoran's not going to be by itself for long, because right up to the north is Mount Moon, where we can get our second Pokemon, Geodude, or as I call it, Offspring. This Pokemon's nature is Brave, so that's plus attack minus speed, which is another really good nature for Golem if you look at its stats. So we're 2 for 2 on Fantastic Natures, that's going to help a lot. But given the nature of both the level cap and also the auto evolution rule, while we're in Mount Moon, our Sum 41, the Nidoran, evolves into a Nidorina, and then immediately into a Nidoqueen. I probably would have liked to keep it as a Nidorina for a little bit so it could learn Bite, because that'll help against Misty, but we have to auto-evolve, that's the breaks. But, you know, it's a Nidoqueen, and just look at the stats on the screen. This is fighting Rattatas, you know? This is fighting Rattatas. It's it's gonna carry us for a while, and honestly, I think the whole run. I think Sum 41's gonna be the MVP here. But as we, you know, start to leave Mount Moon, well, first of all, I pick up the Helix fossil. The Helix fossil. And then I leave Mount Moon. On the way out of Mount Moon, I get the Mega Punch move tutor onto Nidoqueen to give it a really strong stab until we get Body Slam, and then I go and capture our third Pokemon, the useless Sand Shrew, which is actually the reason I picked LeafGreen, so that I could get it. Yay. Yeah, Sandshrew is really bad, and our nature is Calm, which is minus attack plus Spadef, which just breaks our streak of good natures and makes a bad Pokemon even worse. But I suppose I would rather a bad Pokemon have it than a good Pokemon. Anyway, with not much else we can do, it's time to go for our first rival fight of this broadcast. So against it, we're going to lead Offspring because, you know, one Rock's throw takes out Pidgeotto. That's easy. And then as they bring in Bulbasaur, we bring in the carry of the run, Nidoqueen, and it takes bugger all from Vine Whip. At this point, it's actually pretty awkward because there's Sleep Powder and there's not much I can do about it, so I just Mega Punch it as many times as I can before I go to sleep. The amount of times I can Mega Punch it is 1, because we get a crit! And it goes down. Sucked in, you frog? What is Bulbasaur? Is it a frog? Is it a lizard? I don't know. Tell me in the comments if you know. I won't read them, but you know, you can feel validated. Just kidding, I do read every single comment. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. I just been shit talking because the rest of the fight's easy. We bored in Sand True to get some experience, and then we killed Rattata with Geodude. Yeah, really simple because of that crit. Will Misty be the same? Find out now. She's not gonna be the same. She's not gonna be the same! Help! Help! Whoa, now that I'm editing this video together, I'm actually really struggling with the timing. Anyway, we've leveled up a bit, so now we're going to fight Misty. You've seen our Pokemon. Sun 41, Green Day, level 16, Offspring's level 21. I had no reason to keep leveling up Green Day. I've also leveled up Nidoqueen, so that's going to level up after it kills this Staryu. It's going to need it. So we Mega Punch it. I think I debate whether or not double kick will kill it, but I just click Mega Punch, it kills it, that's great. So now we're at level 22, we're as strong as we possibly can, and we get Body Slam. And Body Slam is just Mega Punch, but stronger, more accurate, and can paralyze. So, it's looking like we can maybe do this. So, we are at full health versus the Starmie. We really want to paralyze this, and we kind of probably might need to. Water Pulse does a lot. That's almost half, and we probably have to risk it. But there's the paralysis, and that's huge. We Body Slam again, and we have to hope for a good roll here, because if we don't get a good roll, we're fucked. And we get the good roll. Alrighty, so at this point I'm thinking, wait a minute, they're gonna Super Potion, so I just have to click Body Slam again. And I do. And, you know, at this point, I am absolutely shitting myself. I need to get a lot of paralysis. So I make a very tough decision, and I bring Green Day in. Mostly because if it dies, it dies. It's unfortunate, but it's a bad Pokemon. I got 1 paralysis, so I could have just Body Slammed. But yeah, we're gonna try to scratch it. And now that's put it in Body Slam thanks to the crit. Thanks to the crit. You know, Green Day, you shined for a very small amount of time, but you shined brightly. Well, that crit, it has lost us our first Pokemon of the run, very sad. But that crit, I think, has put it in some 41 range, and that's what I'm debating internally as I send it out, because I think Starmie will still be faster than Geodude. I click Body Slam, and it's time for the moment of truth. Does this actually kill Starmie? Yes, it fucking does. This was probably the hardest fight. This is the one that, like, I just saw this, you know, matchup, and I'm like, oh god, I'm dreading it. This is definitely probably the hardest fight. It's going to be the hardest fight for a while. Until Erica. Because, yeah, there's a lot of points where ground's a really good type, but there's just a lot of points in Kanto where ground's a really bad type to be. Like, you know, and a big example is against Misty, but also against, Erica. I do think once those two are gone, the run's going to get a lot easier up until the Elite Four and Lorelei. Like, thank God Lorelei is the first Elite Four member, because we have a huge level gap. But, let's talk about Lorelei some other time. We are boxing Sand, Green Day. Rest in peace, Green Day. You know, I'm not that upset about it. It's only Sandshrew. And also, you know, Green Day's been dead to me, really, ever since they, ever since they released 21 Guns. I mean, come on. Come on. Anyway, it's time for the SSN, which means it's also time for our second rival fight. But before the SSN, there's another Pokemon we can get, our third Pokemon, and I think this Pokemon's going to be pretty good for us. It's a Diglett. We got it at a pretty high level, so that's nice. It digs a hole, which is a bit scary since it's going to do a lot of damage, but Diglett's not the strongest Pokemon. And yeah, Diglett is going to become Dugtrio, 120 base speed. That's pretty good. It's only got 80 attack this gen, but that's fine. And it's going to be a nice fast option, which will be a bit unique, so that's good. It's very frail, so it's going to be a bit of a glass cannon. That's not a particularly great cannon, but you know, it's going to do well, I think, personally. I named it Sex Pistols because, you know, again, that's the sort of music that I like. In terms of nature and abilities, it's calm, just like Sandshrew. Green Days Come Back to Haunt Me, and it's got Sand Veil, which, you know, I mean, Arena Trap doesn't come into play much against the AI anyway, so that's fine. But now it's time to head to the SSN and do our second rival fight. Yeah. And it's the rival fight I've built up so much anticipation for. Why does he say Bajor? Is he French? I mean, it's a good way of making, you know, someone dislike them, you know, if they're French. Gross. He leads with Pidgeot. I do the tried tested thing of leading with Offspring. Sand attack, gets in Offspring's eyes. Not great, but as long as I hit rock through it should be fine. Do a lot of damage, kill the Pidgeotto. Yeah. Previous Angus, what have you wrought? Anyway, Ivysaur is in, so we have to switch out and we bring in the Ivysaur counter, which is Sum 41. Eventually Sum 41 can get moves that'll actually hit it very hard, but at this point we have to rely on Body Slam. Thankfully, Ivysaur isn't the strongest Pokemon in the world at the moment, so we can just Body Slam it to death. Yeah, and we get another critical hit. That is our second in a row against this Pokemon. That's pretty interesting. Kadabra is spooky. I think I assumed I'd switch, but I didn't. I guess we're just faster on it, and I knew that. I'm a fucking genius, and everyone should respect me and click the little bell and hit subscribe. Against Raticate, we just bring in Offspring. It's the two main Gs, they're just going to handle it, I suppose. And it's pretty self-explanatory, and then we kill his Raticate. Yeah, that is like... Does anyone... It is so weird that we do actually kill his Raticate. Like, it's murder. It's just murder. Like, we committed a murder. Anyway, we've got Cut, so let's deal with Lieutenant Surge. And Lieutenant Surge really should be easy. Like, to be as nice as possible to the guy, he's terrible in this run, well, against us, because his team is 3 electric types, and the only move that they've got to hit ground types are normal types, which, you know, isn't great against Offspring. So basically, I think literally the only halfway decent damaging move he's got is Sonic Boom with Voltorb. But, well, as you're going to see here, Voltorb screeches, game's over. It's won. Like, it doesn't matter what happens now. Like, he can double team forever. If I get screeched enough times, I'm just going to switch out anyway. Like, he's just got nothing. Magnitude dead, Pikachu. And then Raichu is also about to die. After a Magnitude 6, even with a Magnitude 6. Yeah, so that's pretty good. Look, and that is probably the easiest fight. Unfortunately, we are at the point where we're, you know, getting ready for the hardest fight. But first we have to go to Rock Tunnel, and we have to get a new friend, so watch out for that. Oh, but while we're heading to Rock Tunnel, something fun happens, and we beat a couple of trainers that I skipped due to level caps. And our Geodude evolves. Offspring becomes a Graveler. At some point I'm going to turn it into a Golem. But yeah, for now it's just going to be a Graveler, and that's pretty cool, because Graveler is pretty strong. But as we enter Rock Tunnel, we get a new friend, and that is Onyx, who I name Bad Religion. Onyx, like the name Bad Religion, is bad. I actually clicked Magnitude because I didn't care if it died. It's, you know, like, yeah, but Onyx is called Bad Religion. I'm not going to use it at all because it's terrible. Its nature is Rash, which means more special attack, less, I think, defense, maybe SPDF. Regardless, it's terrible. Because Onyx doesn't have much special attack, so, you know, that's fun. But in Celadon, we need to prepare for Erica first. Erica is tough, like real tough. She's got a 29 level cap, and unlike most gym trainers, I think in Pokemon, she has 2 that are at that level. Plus her grass attacks are super effective against every single one of my Pokemon, except for Nidoqueen. And yeah, given Dugtrio is a Dugtrio, and Offspring is 4 times weak to it, they can't come, so this is a Nidoqueen only ride. Fortunately, Nidoqueen has a wide range of attacks in its long set, and some of them are actually available at this point. In fact, the game opens up majorly. And one of those moves is Flamethrower. I don't know why Flamethrower over Ice Beam in hindsight, but, you know, Fire's cool was my favourite type as a kid, so Flamethrower. But the actual big problem is, I don't have enough money to buy the coins. It's a lot of coins to get Flamethrower, and the coins are very expensive. There is one way we can get coins though. I've bought as many as I can and gotten as many free ones as I can, but sometimes you gotta be like every fair dinkum fucking Aussie bloke, have a VB long neck for breakfast, and gamble the life savings away.
If you're a fucking fair dinkum fucking full-grown Aussie, this is what you'd have for breakfast, you fucking dog cunts. A fucking VB long neck at 20 to 8 in the fucking morning. Get that up, yeah.
But this took hours. Like, I watched so much YouTube in this time. I honestly wanted to cry with how long it took. It would go down a lot, then up a lot, then down a lot. Ugh. But look, I will do stupider, more obnoxious grinds for this challenge in the future, I'm sure. But this is an early one that I was not happy about doing. But now that I've got my money, I've got Flamethrower, and we're ready for Erica. I also put a Cherry Berry on Nidoqueen because Erica just loves to spam Stun Spore, and it's a great way of just sort of not having to deal with that problem. I do want to complain, as we get to here, that every trainer in here that I battled, and I stumbled onto accidentally a fucking couple of them, was a pain in the arse to fight. But let's just hope Flamethrower deals with this whole situation, now that we have it. So we open up, we're obviously leading with Sun 41, and Flamethrower does about half to Victory Bell. Well, over half, which is pretty good. Paralysis, Cherry Berry, exactly as we planned. A Body Slam KOs, and then the Tangler comes out, but Tangler's SPDF is terrible, so bye-bye Tangler. And Vileplume is, well, I don't know, it's actually got a lot of SPDF, and it's a 2-hit KO, fantastic. Stun Spore, Paralysis, not great. Giga Drain also not great, it might be a 3... Okay, no, it's not a 3-hit KO, it just died to 2. Weird range. Anyway, with that, that's one of the harder fights. Yeah, if I didn't have Flamethrower, I would hate it, but, look. Thank you, gambling. Thank you, Pokies. So with that, we have a huge jump in the level cap. At level 43 is Wheezing. That's the next level cap, actually. But we have a lot of content to do in the meantime. And we have a huge jump in the level cap. The next level cap is level 43 with Koga's Wheezing and Sabrina's Alakazam, I believe. But we've got a lot to do in the meantime, and a lot of levels to get up to. So first we're going to the rocket game called a hideout thing. I've never exactly been sure about what the name of this place is. It's pretty easy, it's way under-leveled, and we get to fight Giovanni in here for the first time. And just as a spoiler warning, Giovanni in this is a joke. He uses ground types like we do, so, you know, he's a man after my heart. But most of them are part rock or poison. That means ground's actually really good into ground in this game. Case in point, look at this first one. Offspring, who is now Golem, magnitudes Onyx into nothing, then it breaks Kangaskhan into dust, and then magnitudes Rhydon to kill it. Fucking not exactly a very hard fight at the end of the day, is it? And next up is our rival, who I think you're supposed to fight when you first get into town, but if you've like ever played this game more than once, why would you not just fight him like when you come back? His team is super underleveled at this point and doesn't stand a chance. Like, Ground really picks up momentum at this point, and honestly I think it's just going to keep going that way. We've got 2 fantastic Pokemon and a medium good Pokemon, and we're about to pick up another as I finish destroying our rival, who I will remind everyone is literally mourning the death of his Pokemon. The Pokemon that we killed. We do a little psychological torturing here up in Kanto. I am going to say that the sleep powder was a little dodgy. I probably should have equipped a Chesto Berry, that is my mistake. Oh yeah, also Sex Pistols evolved a little bit ago. I don't think I recorded it, but yeah, there we go. But this is probably our last easy rival fight, because, you know, Rival 5 was a bit infamous, and I genuinely think that the rival fight before the Elite Four is going to be the hardest fight in the game. It scares me. But Gyarados at this point doesn't have any water type attacks, so really this is just, we deal with Ivysaur, we win. And as we climb the spooky tower, we have our 6th encounter, which is also a second last encounter. It's Cubone, aka the Clash. Now, it evolves into Marowak, which will be a pretty good member of the team, especially if I bother to get a Thick Club for it, which doubles its attack. It's definitely going to need the help in the attacking sort of department though, because its nature is Timid, which is plus speed, that's great, minus attack, which is really bad. Like, it's probably the best worst nature. Like, we really did use all of our good nature luck on our first 2 guys. Yeah, but, you know, it does also have the ability Lightning Rod, which is, you know, I think I'd prefer Rockhead because Lightning Rod's a bit useless and getting the non-recoil's fun, but that's what you do. After a whole lot of random trainer battles, we finally move on to our last encounter. Like, I'm sure we can rig this a little bit or increase the odds somehow, but I did not bother to learn because I'm happy with either of the options we have. That would be Nidorino or Rhyhorn, aka Nidoking or Rhydon. Turns out we got Nidorino. At the time, I definitely would have preferred Rhydon, but in hindsight, Nidoking was definitely the best choice for the job. Like, it definitely, just having 2 Nidos is a lot better than having 2 rock ground types. I called this one Buzzcocks, and as per the rules, I immediately evolved it. Its nature is Calm, so less attack, which is pretty bad, but extra Spadef, which might come in handy. It's probably going to be a special attacker, which is what I was going to do with it anyway, so honestly, that's fine. So I then basically just spent a huge chunk of time battling trainers, grinding, that sort of thing. Basically just doing the regular Pokemon stuff. I took the time to teach Thief to Dugtrio and used it to steal a Thick Club for Marowak. That's going to make this Pokemon absolutely broken because just double damage is pretty insane. I did delete Thief afterwards, which was a huge mistake that I regretted horribly towards the late game, because it basically meant I couldn't take items from Pokemon, and that's how you get a lot of items in this game. So that's a bit annoying, but that's an issue for later. And our last major battle was a rival fight, and so is this one. The infamous rival Fivel, among other challenge people, who is a big issue in them. Fortunately, I've got a pretty stacked team of 5 very good mons, so it might not be the hardest. Plus, Gyarados doesn't actually have Hydro Pump yet. I put a Chesto Berry onto our Nidos to counter the Venusaur, and then we fought this man. As is tradition, I led off with Offspring to beat Pidgeot, and as is tradition, Venusaur enters the field right after us. So, as is tradition, Sum 41 comes in to cook it with a few flamethrowers. Venusaur hits 2 sleeps in a row, burning our Chesto Berry and putting Sum 41 to sleep, so I bring in Buzzcock to finish it. Alakazam comes in, and that's really scary, so I bring in the Clash. You can at least take a few hits. It future sights to make our sort of plays a bit awkward. Then for some reason it does it again. so I just boomerang to kill it. Great. Gyarados is next, but it doesn't like actually have good moves to hit us, so we go into Offspring, because Offspring can take a Future Sight and a Dragon Rage, which is what it does. Future Sight, Dragon Rage, down to 16, so we bring in Sex Pistols just to clean it up with a Slash. Pretty good, except it takes 2 slashes. That's a bit rough. It is a bit unfortunate that Golem's best rock move, and the rock move it's going to have for the rest of the run, is Rock Throw. The other rock moves it gets is Rock... It is very unfortunate that Golem's best rock move is Rock Throw. The other rock moves it can have access to in this run is going to be Rollout, which locks you in, which I do not want to do, and Rock Blast. Rock Throw, 50 base power, 90 accuracy, but Rock Blast is 25 base power, 80 accuracy, and yeah, it hits 2 to 5 times, but the most common outcome is 2, so that's the same base power, but it's less accurate and has less PP. So it's a bit dodgy, and for that reason, you know, it's just, this is a common thing with a lot of rock types in Gen 3, because there's no Rock Slide TM or anything. There's a Rock Slide tutor, but only one Pokemon gets that. So yeah, just throwing a little bit of foreshadowing for if I have to do a rock run in Gen 3. It's gonna suck. But yeah, I got the win. That wasn't too hard. I do think the next rival fight, I think I've said it already, is going to be the hardest one in this run. His Pokemon are super high levels, and Gyarados has Hydro Pump, so we can't really rely on just switching in any old Pokemon to beat it. I think you've noticed I spent the entire Giovanni fight talking about Golem. That's because Giovanni sucks. Now we have to pick between the Poison Gym or the Psychic Gym. Both actually have the same level cap of 43, and since we're here for the Psychic Gym, I decided we'd just start with Sabrina. Alrighty, Sabrina time, and I lead Sex Pistols. I'm a little underleveled, but I kind of didn't want to grind anymore. And honestly, Sex Pistols should deal with it, as it magnitudes Kadabra down pretty easily, and then does the same thing with Mr. Mime. It's a level 5. Magnitude's weird with its different ranges, but after a 5 and a 9, that kills it, so that's pretty good. They bring in Venomoth, and I'm a bit scared about that, so I bring in Offspring, which can take it pretty well. Psybeam's not doing much, 23 damage, so a second one's not doing much else. Rock Throw kills it. Alrighty, and we're down to Offspring versus Alakazam. This is actually a really tough one, and I decided to keep Offspring in, and Alakazam uses Future Sight, and then 2-9, and it's dead. That could have actually been scary, but we didn't really have a good switch, and the AI just loves a good Future Sight. So, we've got the 5th Gym Badge. Yay! We immediately go to Koga next to deal with... You know, we do have all of our gang, basically. We've only lost Green Day so far, so it's actually going pretty good with that stuff. Koga is Poison, and that on paper sounds like it should be easy, but it's a little bit harder. It's not going to be much harder, but a little bit harder, because only one of their Pokemon is actually hit by ground types, the rest are immune. So we can't just rely on Dugtrio to sweep. Having said that, we have 2 Ground Poisons, which 4 times resist their main stab, so it is not going to be very hard at all. Yeah, against Koga, it's actually a pretty easy win. Flamethrower with a crit beats 1 Coughing. Monk comes in, so I bring in Clash. It clicks Bone Meringue, hitting despite the Minimize. Back to some 41 to kill the Coughing. And also the Wheezing at some point. Flamethrower, but hits a couple of smoke screens and we start missing a lot. So I get kind of frustrated and bring in Nidoking. It just lives 2 sludges easily, surfs the heck out of Coughing, in comes Wheezing, surf, and surf again, and it's done. Really easy. Badge number 6, fantastic. Okay, so next comes the Water Roots. We actually need to grind here and beat all the trainers here, because we want to be really highly leveled. It's not even for Blaine or for Giovanni, but for the rival after them. So we're risking Water Roots. And to be honest, it should be fine. A lot of these Mons, they've got like, they're watertight, so they've got bad water moves, and our Mons are strong enough that, you know, we should be able to survive them like... Oh, fucking hell! I was grinding. I didn't account for crit damage, so like I lost some 41, and that's, you know, a bit sad. That was that carry. That was like literally our best mon. That really freaking hurts us, and honestly, like I'm a fucking idiot, eh? Like, I'm actually still annoyed at myself even though this is in post. Like, what the fuck? It's actually really sad, and also, if I lose this run, it's entirely the fault of losing this Pokemon. Like, Nidoqueen was going to be so good, and we fucking lost it. Man. Look, we put it in the dead box, but we have to carry on. We still fortunately have Nidoking. If we didn't have Nidoking, this run would be impossible, so thank God I got a Nidorino instead of a Rhyhorn. Alrighty, time for Blaine. Had a bit of a seethe, a bit of a moan, a bit of a grind, and we're up to him. Yeah, so Nidoking clicked Surf. That's my entire analysis of this battle. Like, I'm actually still annoyed at myself. Like, I was annoyed as I was doing this. Like, and this was, like, hours later. It's just, like, Buzzcocks is gonna help, but Jesus. I'm really struggling with how achievable this run is gonna be. Anyway, now that Buzzcocks has beaten Blaine, it's time for us to beat Giovanni, who is again a joke. I do a bunch of the stupid island number stuff and to help the grind, and then it's time to face Giovanni. And it's honestly another stomping. Yeah. Like, Buzzcocks beats the first two. With Nidoqueen, it's got Earthquake, so you bring in the Clash. That kills the other Pokemon. Done. It's over. Goodbye, Giovanni. You had a good run. Yeah. It's time for the rival fight. And this fight is actually ridiculous, so I really had to prepare. I got and then taught Thunderbolt and Ice Beam to Nidoking, and also gave it the Earthquake TM that we got from Giovanni. It's definitely going to be needed in this fight, and I also poured all of my rare candies into it. It's going to have to take out most of his Pokemon, so it really needs to be at a high level. Like, this team is tough. If I don't do this, Blue will destroy me, because his Pokemon are so high leveled at this point that really there's not much we can do. And we can't grind, there's no good grinding spots until after him. As for the fight against him, we lead Buzzcocks because we have to, which really breaks the tradition that we have against him of leading Offspring. Thunderbolt doesn't kill Pidgeot, the Feather Dance doesn't matter, second Thunderbolt kills it. Alakazam is very scary. I debate just trying to take it, but I go no, go into Dugtrio. It clicks Calm Mind, and shit, I'm having a panic attack at this point, because I was supposed to level up Dugtrio once, because at level 51 it learns Earthquake. 100 base damage, this'd probably die. But I've got fucking Magnitude. Magnitude, which, may I remind people, can do a lot of different damage. It has a 5% chance of doing 10 damage, a 10% chance of doing 30 base damage, 20 of doing 50, 30% of doing 70, 20% of doing 90, 10% of doing 110, and 5% of doing 150. So, there is exactly 15% chance that I do higher than Earthquake damage, or, you know, I suppose 90 will also probably be fine, so that's 35% chance of this working. This whole run, because this thing beats everything I've got. Like, no, it might not. I think, I'd imagine Clash can take a +1, I don't know. Like, it might just beat this entire thing. This run might be over, unless I get a 35% chance. I click Magnitude 10, 150 base damage. Alakazam is fucking dead. Venusaur comes in, Nidoking comes in, Razor Leaf, it's not doing much, it's got a high crit rate, so it's a bit scary, but 2 Ice Beams is going to kill it. A Growth, yeah, it's done. Well, this fight isn't done, but Nidoking's done. They bring in Gyarados, and we really have to hope this Thunderbolt kills it, and it does. Thank gosh. Growlithe's in, Growlithe's a bit of a joke, Surf kills it, and then we've only got Rhyhorn left, and Surf kills that. I'm very glad I put all of those red candies into Buzzcocks. That honestly sounds like it's sarcastic, but it's not. I'm really happy we beat him, and like I have to thank the power of magnitude for actually beating him, because Jesus Christ, we got really lucky. But yeah, the champion battle's also going to be tough, but I genuinely think that one's going to be harder because we had to preserve Pokemon. Victory Road time! It's time for grinding.
We're gonna have to cut you off. We're getting some kind of grinding noise on the track.
The grind actually took a few days. I did decide to grind at Bad Religion 2. Look, it's probably not going to do anything, but it felt a little bad. Because why not? I also this is when I ran into the problem of not having feet, so I couldn't grab items to boost damage, like Soft Sand on Dugtrio, you know, that sort of thing. As for my sets, well, you've seen, they're very similar to what they were at this point. The only interesting one is Bad Religion set. Bad Religion's terrible, it's got terrible moves. I taught it Sandstorm for chip damage, I taught it Toxic for chip damage, I taught it Protect to stall out the chip damage. Maybe that'll be useful. It's probably just going to be a sack. Who cares? Yeah, I also have given both Bad Religion and Offspring leftovers that I got from the item finder after I just caught a bunch of Pokemon. So I've really done as bad as optimal as I can. Nidoking has Nevermelt Ice as well, so its Ice Beams are a little stronger. That's cool. Yeah. Can this team win? Let's do it to it and find out now. Lorelei, I don't know how to pronounce it. If she was last, she'd be the hardest fight in the game, but she's first, so without level advantage, she's actually a lot worse. We lead with Buzzcocks, and we click Thunderbolt on the Dugong, who clicks Safeguard, which, you know, go ahead, buddy. A second Thunderbolt kills him. In comes Cloyster, and then a Thunderbolt, and then out comes Cloyster. There's Slowbro, and I can't switch into Surf, so I just T-Bolt it, and it yawns me. I want to switch out here, but I still can't switch into Surf, so I just Thunderbolt it again. Jinx comes in, we go to sleep, and our best Pokemon is asleep, so the rest of our gang's going to have to deal with this. I do know that Jinx has Attract, so that's why I switch in Dugtrio to maybe absorb it, and it does. Fantastic. Jinx has Pitiful Defense, so one Earthquake should be, yes it is, it's enough. Lapras is the last Pokemon that comes in, and Lapras is very strong. We go into the Clash, they click Confuse Ray, that's a bit annoying. We hopefully don't hit ourselves in confusion as we Brick Break, we get it off. It almost dies, Ice Beam, we're almost dead. So we need to... it's tough. Right now we've got two choices. We can risk not getting confused, or risk that our Golem, with minus speed, is faster than Lapras. It is a lot higher level though, so I do go for Offspring and just hope it's faster. At the end of the day, it's only getting one Pokemon. Dugtrio is going to deal with it. Ice Beam doesn't kill it, as I expected. Life Orb, that's good. Brick Break hits it, kills it, dead. Fantastic. Unfortunately, yeah. We have beaten Lorelei, and that's pretty good. Yeah, and then next is Bruno, and I'm once again not going to commentate Bruno because it's Giovanni too. He's a fucking joke. Like, it's not that his moveset's bad, just his Pokemon are bad. And they're really bad against us. So Buzzcock just kind of deals with this whole team. You have to make sure not to hit Hitmonchan with the physical move ever, but again, that's easy. Just keep that in mind if you're ever doing a run. So yeah, now we have to talk about Agatha. All of her Pokemon are poison types, which sounds great, but 4 out of 5 of them are immune to ground. And then both Sex Pistols and Bad Religion can't actually touch her ghosts. So, like, in terms of the next fight, I spent ages, and I mean ages, thinking about what to lead. And you're going to see what my lead is pretty soon. Let me just... Honestly, I think I could probably cut out this whole fight and it'll be fine, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Poison Point, Surf, dead. Alrighty. Yeah, so, Agatha. Agatha. Yeah, for some reason, dumbass me led Onyx. Onyx can't touch your Pokemon! I just said it! I know, I click Sandstorm for some chip damage as Gengar gets a free double team in. I can't Toxic, I can't Double Edge, so I just go into Offspring. Sandstorm doesn't even do the thing where rock types get a Spadef boost. That's Gen 4. That's just how bad Onyx is. Shadow Punch does fuck all because Ghost is physical as well, so that's really good. We click Rock Throw and we take Shadow Punch and we hit. Everything's good. Gengar is heals, but we click Rock Throw again despite the one double team. That's all good. Honestly, Offspring could sit in front of this thing forever. Confuse Ray's a little annoying, but we hurt ourselves the first time. That's a shame. Shadow Punch again, but we snap out. Rock Throw misses this time. This stupid Gengar, but Rock Throw, and it's gone. That's fine. For some reason, Arbok comes in, and I'm actually really intimidated by Arbok coming in, and I don't know why. I think I'm just having a bit of a panic attack at this point while I'm playing, because, you know, this is my first one, I don't want to lose it, especially with a good type. Screech, but that's fine. Magnitude, it's dead. Okay, and in comes Golbat. We decide to bring in Offspring. Air Cutter does nothing because of our amazing defense and our resistances. So, you know, we're confused, but it's no big deal. We managed to get through a Rock Throw. Golbat is dead. That's good. Goodbye, Golbat. Then Haunter comes in, and that's a bit scary, but we can just Rock Throw and do a lot of damage. Though this Haunter does have that. Hypnosis, and then yeah, it's asleep, and I know this Pokemon has Dream Eater, so I have to switch something in. And for some reason, I decide Bad Religion's the guy who can't touch ghosts. I decide to click Sandstorm just to get some chip on Haunter, and then it looks me, and I'm trapped, and I've lost. Like, Bad Religion's dead. It's at this point. Like, I can try to stall out its Hypnosis's, but that's not going to work. I'm going to die. So, you know, let's all just take a moment to think about all of the great times we had with Bad Religion.
Of time on the telephone line, talking about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. Sweet dreams and flying machines flying safely through the air.
Okay, we've thought of them all. No, I really shouldn't have brought it in, and I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Like, it's over. I'm just stalling the inevitable. But yeah, is this dead? Haunter's gonna be at full HP. Very sad times. Yeah. We are down to 4 all up, and it's time for the Buzzcocks to come in, because it might be faster. Yeah, we hit Ice Beam, it doesn't kill it, but we dodge the Hypnosis, that's great. Thunderbolt, it's dead, it's down to the last Gengar. It's also got Hypnosis, Dream Eater, which is a bit scary. So we click Ice Beam. Shadow Ball doesn't do that much. Ice Beam, it's going to be a 3 KO, but Hypnosis, that's rough. We have to go into the Clash because Sex Pistols can't touch this thing because of Levitate. Shadow Ball minus Spadef, that's fine. Rock Slide, Hypnosis, we're asleep. 1 turn sleep. I think we're fucked. We wake up though, we Rock Slide, we win. BAM! Agatha is a bit of a lucky fight, but that's just sort of the nature of her. Yeah, But anyway, with that out of the way, I think she's probably the hardest Elite Four member for this run. Because next we've got Lance, and Lance really shouldn't be too hard. We have Nidoking, which has super effective moves into every single Pokemon here. Yeah, Nidoking's just going to be pretty strong. Alrighty, Lance time. Gyarados versus Buzzcock's lead, and the old Buzzer clicks Thunderbolt, and kills Gyarados with a Thunderbolt. That's really good sense of the champion. We surf against Aero, and don't take too much damage, but I'm a bit worried that Aerodactyl can crit Hyper Beam us, or that it's going to put us in range for stupid Outrage from Dragonite. So it's at this point that I decide to switch out as it gets poisoned into something that can take every single hit that Aerodactyl has, and that is Offspring. Lance uses a full restore, but that doesn't really matter. Ancient Power does 13 damage, Rock Throw, trusty Rock Throw almost kills, and Brick's gonna finish it off. Fantastic. Then we just have Dragonairs left, and I decide, fuck it, let's use Earthquake. Earthquake on Dragonair 1, dead. Earthquake on Dragonair 2, and I think you'll find that it's also dead. And you know what? While we're in it, Rock Throw is pretty good against Dragonite. Safeguards, Rock Throw misses, so tie, go again. Outrage, crits, we're on 6 health. Crap, that's scary. We go into the Buzzcocks because we think it can take an Outrage. It can. It's confused. Ice Beam to kill Dragonite, and bam, we managed to get through Lance unscathed and seals it. So we got 4 guys going into the champion. We've got the OG Offspring, we've got Sex Pistols, we've got the Clash, and we've got Buzzcocks, who has been the carry since he joined the team. But can they take out the champion? And the answer, I think, is maybe. The champion's always going to be hard in this sort of challenge. At level lead's gone, and he has a lot of strong Pokemon, like Gyarados and Alakazam are going to be big problems especially. We can sack Mons, though, at this point, because it's the last battle, so who cares? Look, if I had Nidoqueen, if I had old Sum 41, I would be a lot more confident, but let's get to it. Alrighty, as is tradition, the OG, who's been with us since the start, Rhydon leads against Pidgeot. Feather Dance is annoying, but Pidgeot can't do anything to us, so we just click Rock Slide again. It's a rare switch from the AI, and I just click Earthquake because I don't want any of our ones taking more damage, and sadly, Offspring's the most expendable. Scary Face lowers our speed, but we do have a half of EQ. We survive one from Rhydon, and Offspring gets the first KO. Venusaur is next, and fortunately for us, well, it got a huge Cam Crate in its moves with Solar Beam, so we get a free EQ, which bloody well crits, so good on your Offspring. Like, I just want to take some time out here, pause the video, and talk about how funny that is. This entire run, most rival fights would go with Offspring leads, Venusaur comes in, and then Offspring has to run away from Venusaur. But on the last fight, the Mad Lad, he did it. He got his kill against Venusaur. And that's so funny. This is why I love Nuzlocke, man. Yeah, anyway, now that Offspring's gotten his kill, he can tragically sacrifice himself for his friends. He has achieved what he needs to, he's beaten who he needs to, and he's happy for it, so let's all thank Offspring, shall we? It's a sad loss, but it's a loss that we need, unfortunately, and he at least got to experience true satisfaction with his final attack. Alrighty, so in comes the Buzzcocks, we click Thunderbolt, or we click Thunderbolt, and it's dead, and fuck. I don't think I just said words. So, Thunderbolt doesn't kill, into Para, into full Para. That was a bit of a trip to experience life. The rival stalling the inevitable here, Thunderbolt's gonna bring it in range every time. We finally managed to get the kill, that's great, and it's 3v3, but Alakazam is a big fucking problem. We really can win it at this point. So I go into Sex Pistols because I think it can actually take a Psychic, because it has OK Spadef, I think. Reflect halves physical damage, which is really bad, and because I am an idiot who is stressing, I click Magnitude, and I'm furious at myself. Magnitude 6, by the way, base power of 50, right? But, you know, I click EQ, it does a little bit, it clicks Psychic, and then I'm down to almost nothing, and it's looking like it's curtains for your boy. Until the AI, the Mad Lad AI, the fantastic 1000 genius AI clicks Future Sight so that Earthquake can get the kill. And that's really cool. Slash through Reflect, it's not going to do much. We bring in Clash because we're fairly sure that Future Sight's going to hit here, and it does, and it would have killed Nidoking. Aerial Ace does bugger all, Rock Slide kills, so 2 versus 1, Arcanine versus the Clash, Flamethrower, and I really thought the Clash had lived that, it's dead. So now it's time. 1-on-1. 1 on 1. Buzzcocks, old Buzz Job here versus Arcanine. Can it win? Like, genuinely, this decides the entire run. Like, I understand the thing with Nuzlocke is that every battle, every 1v1 matters, especially in such a restricted format like this, but holy shit, I was shaking. I could not stop. I was panting. I was so worried about everything. Good old Buzzer, the carry. Can it do it? It clicks Earthquake. Arcanine is almost dead. Flamethrower doesn't crit, it doesn't do half. We've won. We've won. Extreme Speed, I think it has. It's not going to do much. They full restore. It's denying the inevitable Earthquake. It's not a range, we found out, so that's pretty cool. Earthquake, Earthquake, Earthquake. We've won. We've won. We've won. We've fucking done it. Old Buzz Job over here. Yes! That was really intense and, like, really fun. Those looks are great. Like, they just have so many mini stories during them that you can look back fondly of. Like, you know, Offspring's Last Stand was fantastic. Like, just, it's really great. Like, I thought I was doomed when Sum 41 was killed, I genuinely did, but our guy Buzzcocks goes into the Hall of Fame, and honestly, I'm gonna make a Hall of Fame with all of my survivors, and he is the captain of them. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, Ground was actually a really, really, really fun type to do this with, and this was just a really, really, really fun challenge in general. I'm really happy it happened. I'm really happy that I finally got to do it, and I'm really happy I've learnt enough basic shitty editing to be able to do it. I'll do another one pretty soon, I think. Because I just do this in my own time anyway, even. Honestly, that run, talk about that run, it started off a bit hard, but after I beat Misty, and also, I guess Erica was a little bit of a blip, but that was just so ridiculously easy, until after Giovanni, that it became ridiculously tough. Ground, it's an interesting type to do in Gen 1, but yeah, I'm done, so see you all next time. Like, subscribe, validate my existence, all that stuff. Goodbye.